Good afternoon and hello, everyone. My name is Rich Longo, and I'm your host for today's Flycast Partners presentation. Our webcast today is on capacity optimization, presented by Flycast Partners' very own senior SE, Bobby McCullough. Bobby has been in the IT industry nearly 30 years, probably just over 30 years. Didn't want to talk about that, I'm sure. Has been involved in everything from IT service management, IT asset management, IT operations management, just about anything in between. Numerous certifications and training. He's been instrumental in helping organizations make sure they have the right tool, make sure they have the right processes, make sure that what they currently have is working properly or helping make suggestions on how to better their current environments. So he's got a lot of experience helping thousands of organizations out there. And before we get started, let me introduce Flycast Partners. Flycast Partners offers best-in-class implementation services and training in IT service management, IT asset management, IT operations management, IT security, enterprise service management, workload automation spaces, all using ITIL best practice. Our professional services team has well over 5,700 professional services engagements, both on-site and remote. And as a company, Flycast Partners has nearly 1,300 regular customers that come back over and over again throughout Canada and the United States. I encourage you to reach out to us at 844-FLYCAST. That's 844-359-2278, or visit our website at www.flycastpartners.com and chat with our IT experts Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. They are happy to talk to you about anything. Doesn't even have to be IT related. They're happy to chat. They'll help you get data sheets, white papers, help you look at new tools. They can get you trials, folks, free trials. Imagine that on multiple tools. Tell you about the different types of North American support we provide for many tools out there. We can also help you out with ITIL and ITIL training and ITIL simulations, remote administration, professional services, so many things they can assist you with. So I encourage you to reach out to us or email us at info@flycastpartners.com. During today's presentation, we are not going to take live questions because Bobby has only a limited amount of time for us today, and he has a lot of material to get through. But we still want your questions. So I want you to go ahead and email us those questions. You can email them directly to me at rich.longo@flycastpartners.com. We'll get an answer for you within 24 to 48 hours. So please definitely email those questions. We want to get your questions answered. But like I said, might as well get right into this because Bobby does have a tight timeline today, and we want to let him get to what he needs to take care of. So Bobby, I'm going to go ahead and slide this screen over to you. And your screen looks great, sir.
Great. Thanks, Rich. Well, welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about BMC's Helix Capacity Optimization solution. So, capacity management really has been around for decades. In the days of mainframes, it was a well-established practice within IT organizations. It was needed so that you could maximize your investment as well as determine when a larger mainframe was going to be needed. And then as distributed systems were introduced, capacity management sort of began to diminish. Servers were sort of seen as cheaper to add a server than to invest in capacity management team or practice. And then virtual machines. And that just made it easier and faster to get servers and compute resources deployed. This led to VM sprawl. Many teams, creating their own and deploying their own VMs. Resource utilization really started to spin out of control, as did capital budgets for those IT resources. Right along with virtual machines was the advent of cloud computing. It was promoted as an easy way to get better resource utilization and to drive down IT costs. Most organizations experimented with on-premise private clouds, just to see if the promise of cloud computing was real. But based on on-premise resources, they did get better utilization. But however, their spend for these on-premise resources were funded from capital budgets that most organizations had in place already for managing this. So it wasn't until organizations began moving their applications and workloads to the public cloud that the cost of cloud computing started to be realized and compared to on-premise costs. And this kind of wasn't expected. Public cloud was much more expensive than on-premise resources, and for a few reasons. And this new awareness of IT infrastructure costs has sort of generated a new interest now in capacity management. And it's one that's important and essential to properly managing your IT infrastructure resource costs, regardless of where they reside. So let's take a look at the numbers. How are organizations doing when it comes to managing their infrastructure resources? Well, according to Gartner, it's not great. A third are experiencing, a third of application failures are due to infrastructure shortage. 28% of provisioned servers are unused, and 40% of storage is unused. So using these numbers, if you're spending, let's say, $10 million on storage, and for a large multinational organization, that's not uncommon. 4 million of that spend is wasted. It's no different than if you lit a match to it, and that's how much. That's the value that you're getting for that 4 million. Same thing for the servers. It's nearly 30%. And in today's digital services world, no company can afford to risk having applications or services fail. Organizations typically have no to poor capacity planning practices. They're using spreadsheets, which are typically 30 or more days behind. They don't have good data and analytics for sizing infrastructure resources, for applications and workloads. Their estimates for may work for normal processing, but they can really get blindsided from unexpected changes in demand. So to handle this without a capacity program, they're going to over provision so that their most important applications are going to have adequate resources and just hope for the best. Now, if you look at those last two numbers, again, it says that the organizations that buy 40% more storage than they need and nearly 30% more servers than they need. Everybody gets in the habit of buying resources, not knowing if they need those resources. So we had a customer, BMC had a customer in Contact, a fast-growing company. They were buying 2 clusters, 9 machines each of servers every 6 months to support their growth. And that cost them about $2 million every time they did that. And they really could not keep up that spending pace. That's not something that was sustainable. They bought TrueSight capacity optimization and found how far over provisioned they were. They used the tool to provision properly and for sales forecasts to help model their resource needs. They got the return on their investment in 6 months, and now they're saving millions annually. Just one example of a customer, and today we'll talk about several customers that and what they experienced with the tool. New challenges. So what's new? Cloud, again, exposing the poor use of infrastructure, the wasted spend. Budget is sort of shifting to cloud, but you're going to need to be able to manage both on-prem and cloud and sort of keep that in balance. There's migrations. Ever since the cloud, organizations began with the public cloud, you've had to deal with migrations, move what you've got. That leads to cost and spend that could be excessive as well. And consolidation, you need to be able to plan decommissioning systems as you're moving services out to the cloud. So how are we doing with cloud infrastructure? Well, it's actually worse than on premises. Behavior really doesn't change. All the bad habits that were in place for on-premise has now sort of been transferred to cloud usage. But now there are sort of immediate repercussions from that because cloud spending is coming from operational budgets and not capital budgets. In addition, the buyers of those cloud services has expanded out and beyond your immediate IT group that normally in the past has been managing that. And you guys are seeing this, you know, everybody's an IT buyer. Obviously, IT ops and infrastructure is an IT buyer, but then you know your cloud ops team are going to be a buyer. Your DevOps team are going to be a buyer. Your sales team may be a buyer. I mean, it's really organization wide and difficult to manage. So when you manage IT infrastructure costs, it's important to be able to look at both on-premise and cloud infrastructures, because most organizations are hybrid now. Most, if not all, organizations do some type of planning for purchasing on-premise IT resources, those capital assets. However, most organizations have not yet applied the same practice and discipline to public cloud resources. So without planning, organizations are in a constant churn of managing costs down to the best of their ability. And so what we're seeing is that if applications are hybrid, the IT infrastructure team is typically responsible for ensuring the right resources are available, both on-prem and cloud, at the right time. For cloud applications, whether those can be migrated or the cloud native, the cloud operations team has operational management, which includes responsibility for the cloud resources and the cloud costs. So what needs to happen? Cloud ops teams need to work with IT infrastructure teams to do better planning, modeling, and forecasting of upcoming cloud resource needs, which equates to cloud budget planning as well. Organizations today want to manage IT resources and cost in a business service or application context. So TrueSight capacity optimization really provides you the insight and capabilities to do what we're describing here. Managing your IT infrastructure resources as a business service or an application, and providing the necessary visibility. Infrastructure management is about ensuring you have the right resources when you need them, optimizing your investment in your infrastructure, whether it's capital or operational budget, eliminating infrastructure-related application failures. Again, the right resources at the right price. And organizations needed to address all three of these, and that's really where BMC's Helix capacity optimization can help. So first, visualization. The first step in cost optimization is understanding what you have and how you're using it. So TrueSight capacity optimization, you can have a view of all your business services, and from there you can begin viewing the infrastructures for those services. And if a service is made up of multiple applications, you can drill down in application views. Your business service views are defined using data from your CMDB, or it can be brought in using your Helix Discovery. There's an out-of-the-box connector available for that. If you want to further define or group services, you can use tagging to do that. Those tags can be imported with your data as well. That's really helpful to help get the reports out that you might need out of that data. Technology views are also available. So you're going to get insight into the servers, the storage, and the network resources, as well as the usage. So once you understand what you have and how you're using it, you can make decisions about optimizing IT resources. Automated recommendations can identify when VMs that are oversized, idle VMs and unused storage can be identified. You can reclaim unused resources that allow you to delay or eliminate new purchases of resources. So you're gonna understand your resource alert usage from a machine learning perspective, so that you can make right-size recommendations. You're going to get information to help you determine the best place to run your services and your resources. Does it make sense for it to be hybrid, or should it be in the public cloud, maybe used on a scheduled basis? or on-prem when you've got a steady, persistent use of those resources. You're going to understand your over-provisioned resources. Where are you wasting on-prem resources and generally capital budget? Where are you wasting operational spend out in the public cloud? But also where you're under-provisioned as well. Not having a capacity management team or solution in place, being over-provisioned is not the only state of being. You may have some services or specific machines that are over-provisioned, but you also may have others that are under-provisioned. So the tool will allow you to see that information, understand what's going on, reconfigure your CPU and memory, downsize your storage or network bound bandwidth, and help you right-size your public cloud resources as well. So the tool is also going to allow you to use business and technology KPIs to predict future needs. So doing this through correlation analysis. So you're going to be able to predict future utilization needs for either increased or decreased demands. You'll be able to identify impending saturation dates and send notifications about those impending saturation dates so that you can do something about them before they actually occur. You can simulate the impact of IT and business growth through what-if events. The really great way for an organization to, they have a sales campaign, they're expecting a certain level of activity from that sales campaign. You're able to key that information into those what-if scenarios and understand how you might need to adjust your environment to be able to handle the load for that campaign. So automated predictions based on comprehensive forecasting algorithms using linear, robust linear, exponential, Holt, Winters, exponential smoothing. I mean, I could go on. There's lots of forecasting algorithms that they use to help with these what-if scenarios. And as TrueSight releases new versions, new updates, we generally add to those forecasting scenarios. The latest forecasting scenarios are adding service instances or decommissioning service instances. So you've already got some out-of-the-box what-if events or scenarios already pre-configured for you. Also, proactively identify storage capacity saturation. So not just network utilization saturation, but also where you are on your storage capacity. Identify when your storage pools may run out of capacity. Quantifying the additional extent required to meet allocation requirements. Be able to verify if there are enough unused disks in the storage system to extend existing storage pools. Allow you to meet both your current and future storage requirements, and again, avoid under-purchasing or over-purchasing capacity in order to prevent downtimes and wasted storage. Modeling. So a very important aspect of capacity management is going to be communicating with stakeholders. In most organizations, capacity planning team can make resource recommendations, how much capacity an application needs, when new resources must be purchased, and so on. But the other IT teams and business owners really are the final decision makers for both usage and purchases. This requires building trust with those stakeholders, and the best way to do that is to provide the information that they need at their fingertips, and being able to provide modeling information where you can make predictions on when you're going to hit those saturation points. Cerner is a great example of this. Cerner provides healthcare solutions to healthcare providers like hospitals. They had runaway storage use. They were just basically handing it out without question. Whatever was asked for was provided. Finance came to the infrastructure team and said spending on storage has gotten out of control. And so Cerner used TrueSight capacity optimization to determine their storage requirements. Their biggest challenge was gaining the trust of the business because they're very risk adverse, being healthcare. So this required them to respond to requests from internal clients within 24 hours. They had to be able to show them enough data and information that they felt comfortable, so they knew there was no risk to their external client knew there was no risk. Decided to adopt a DevOps agile model that they called BizOps. They split their team into two groups, those that communicated with the business leaders and brought requirements back to the capacity team, and those that actually used the TrueSight capacity optimization tool to do the modeling from the information that was provided so that they could determine those capacity needs. This model let them have a business, not technical conversations with those internal clients, and allowed the technical people to do the technical work. This resulted in over $1 million in storage savings last year. 0 application and service capacity related incidents. But the biggest benefit was they gained the trust of the business or internal clients and the trust of finance. So now when they make recommendations to their internal clients, they're generally accepted. When they go to finance and ask for funding to purchase storage or server resources, they have the credibility to get the funding. And it's not just through being able to model different scenarios and provide that output. It's also a simulating and providing detail on those simulations where in the cloud or on-prem is this going to be the best cost benefit. Once you identified applications that you want to move to AWS, you're going to want to determine what AWS public cloud resources are needed for migration and the potential costs for budget planning. With cloud cost control, you're going to select the VMs you want to migrate to the public cloud, perform a simulated migration so you can see identify your EC2 and compute instance size and type for migrating for each VM. The VM recommendation is made by looking at the historical resource utilization patterns of the VMs, using CPU performance benchmarks for the underlying servers on which the VMs are hosted, and selecting a low-cost region. In addition, a performance benchmark is performed to make sure there's no performance degradation. So you don't have control over underlying physical resources running the virtual resources in the public cloud. So running a performance benchmark to ensure your SLAs will continue to be met is a very, very important aspect of migrations. You have the ability to make adjustments to any of the recommendations, whether it's compute instance type, size, or region. And then pricing options are provided. You've got on-demand pricing, 1-year and 3-year discounts. And so these costs can easily be compared to your on-prem costs for the same or like infrastructure that you're currently using. So this type of information, you can make informed decisions about migrating workloads and plan your budgets accordingly. So in that Cerner example, in addition to modeling, when are we going to be saturated, you've also got simulations for those migrations. And so that just lends, again, credence to the information that you're providing to those business leaders or your members of your IT teams. You're going to need to be able to plan for new applications. It's not just, hey, we're doing what we're doing now, and 6 months from now we're going to saturate. You've got to be able to plan for changes in your environment, like things like a new application. So you can analyze how IT changes impact the ability to support the business. You can estimate, again, saturation points and residual capacity with business drivers. And because this is planning, if capacity is not available at that time, you're going to have enough time to order additional capacity. You can plan for deploying new applications by identifying compute, storage, network resources needed, identifying a start date for the deployment, determining if and when new resources are needed, You're going to have visibility into your planned and terminated projects for understanding your reserve capacity. View when new resources are being on and offboarded, and understand the evaluation impact on your committed resources. So again, it's that 360-degree view of your capacity management capability. And then finally, providing self-service views so that your stakeholders can stay informed. It's a very important aspect of capacity management is communicating with those stakeholders. They're not necessarily the technical users that you may be. And in most organizations, again, the capacity planning team makes resource recommendations, how much capacity an application needs, when the resources are going to need to be purchased. But it's really the IT leaders and business owners that are really making the final decisions there. Now, a big part of these self-service views is not just the information that they can provide in the over 50 out-of-the-box reports and the over 30 out-of-the-box role-based views of your environment, but also the ability to handle chargeback and showback, the ability to handle 3 different models: allocation, fixed, or usage, chargeback or showback, and then an ability to generate custom reports. So if the out-of-the-box reports are unable to provide what you need, very easy to create templates for your custom reports, build them according to your business or IT needs, export those in a variety of formats, or automatically publish those to send the reports through email. So what was the goal? The goal at Cerner, at least, and with our other customers. Have your available resources and budget, allocated resources and budget, and consumed resources and cost as closely aligned as possible, so that you don't have outages through a lack of capacity, but you also aren't spending too much from being over provisioned. And so what happens? What is the result of customers of TrueSight capacity optimization? Well, on average, they were able to reduce their infrastructure costs by 30%, reduce staff inefficiency by 70%, and actually get a payback for the cost of their investment over 9 months. So very quickly, the solution will pay for itself in just a 9-month time. And so, what are some other examples of some of our customers? I mentioned earlier about InContact. Just very happy with how they can integrate information and correlate that to business activity, and understanding those technical metrics of CPU and network utilization and those type of things, and compare those to actual business activity that's going on, sales out on the website and so on. This is a large European power and utility company. I believe they were based in Italy. They were actually using a couple of TrueSight solutions, capacity optimizations and operations management. So the company's delivering new digital services such as mobile apps, allow their customers to control their use of electricity while they're either in their house or away. Has online maps for the closest charging stations for their customers traveling in electric cars, and they needed to transform their IT to improve their agility. So, and they also wanted to reduce cost, or needed to reduce costs. They had about 1,700 applications running in 3 on-premise data centers that ran on over 10,000 VMs that they moved to AWS. They could decommission 2 of the 3 data centers once the applications were moved to AWS. They are retaining and will continue to operate 1 physical data center and use AWS for all other infrastructure needs. So what happened? Well, the company was unsure of the size of their infrastructure services they needed for the applications they were migrating. A lot of applications, and they're critical. So they have to be planned properly. They were also concerned about how the applications were going to perform in AWS. So as a result, they estimated the size of the VMs and then added 10% additional capacity as a safeguard. The result of that was that they were considerably over-provisioned in AWS services and paying much more than anticipated, 30 million euro annually. Using capacity optimization, we helped them resize their AWS infrastructure services, and their goal now is to continue those resizing and reduce their costs by 40 to 50% over the next 3 years. We've already helped them reduce their costs over the first year by 20%. They now have a custom dashboard that shows them all their VMs, their usage and costs, and immediately provides recommendations on downsizing or increasing custom service size. They've also got some custom-built automations that can make some of these resizing actions happen automatically when the system recognizes what's going on. Very fast time to value. TrueSight again gives you an enterprise view of your mainframe, distributed cloud storage, big data across your entire environment, broad coverage with a lot of out-of-the-box connectors. A lot of our competition really can't provide that single pane of glass that we can provide out of the box. Out of the box means faster time to value. So we have another organization here to tell you about a significant growth occurring in their data center. And they're expected to grow from 40,000 servers to over 200,000 servers over the next 3 years. And I believe this was Walmart. And they were using CA high performance for capacity management. But it could only scale to 40,000 servers, and it had limited coverage. Didn't include mainframe. All solutions were considered. They needed to have an enterprise view and manage capacity growth. They had limited floor space left in their data center. Wanted to defer building a new data center for as long as possible. So TrueSight Capacity Optimization was able to provide them the forecasting that they needed for storage, network, and database growth. They were also planning on building out a large cloud environment. So they were able to use the capacity management tool to integrate with their OpenStack and Azure environments, so that they understand where the cost is going and how best to optimize those. And they also included their Hadoop environment. And so all of this allows them to show value to the business stakeholders, and their actual payback after full deployment of the solution was about 5 months, and their return on investment was 1,000%. So, Rich, that's my last customer example of capacity optimization. I thank everybody for your time, and look forward to talking to you again.
Yeah, thank you, Bobby. I appreciate your time today. I know you got to run. And folks, I want to thank each and every one of you for attending today's presentation. And I did see a question or two in there. We'll get those answers to you, folks. Just give me a couple days here. We'll go ahead and get the answers back on the questions, because one of them was, what is the data source for this, by El Chen. Of course, he left the group already, but we'll get that for you. And Bobby, you have a great weekend. Don't work too hard.
Thanks, Rich. You too.
Folks, if you have any other questions other than what's typed in here, go ahead and call us at 844-359-2278. That's 844-FLYCAST. You can chat with us live on our website. As I stated before, they're happy to take your questions or just chat with you. You can also email us at info@flycastpartners.com or email me directly at richlongo.com. Please, if you want to see this tool in action, we're happy to show it to you. We're happy to get you synced up with someone who can show you, the capabilities and how your organization can benefit from it. A lot of things have changed with this. It's evolved over the last couple of years, so it's pretty amazing where BMC has taken things. With that being said, I'm going to wish everyone a safe rest of your week and a great holiday weekend. Please get out there and enjoy it. And until our next presentation, we'll see you soon.